Am I the a-hole for not wanting my estranged sister to attend my wedding? I grew up in a large family and my sister, 34F, we'll call her Ashley, and I, 35F, always had our differences. My relationship with my other siblings, 32F, 29M, and twins 27F and 27M, has always been okay. We're not super close, but not estranged. I am the only one that lives abroad, so whenever I would make it back to our home country, we always made arrangements for all of us to meet up at our parents' house. To add more context, we were all born and raised in a cult, so our upbringing was a bit intense. We weren't secluded from society, but we did live in a commune until right before the twins were born, and were encouraged not to make any outside friends from school. All of our social interactions have been with other cult members because of this us versus them mentality. We were under extreme pressure to be perfect soldiers for God, and being the eldest in my family and community, I took it quite literally. I was at church nearly every day, hosted prayer groups, gave sermons during youth services, volunteered around the world while homeschooling. When I was 17, I had an arranged marriage to another cult member in a mass wedding. I did not know this boy, he was 19, or know of his existence until 2 days before I was to marry him with 5,000 other couples. He lived in another country, we didn't have a common language, and he refused to move to my country, so I moved to his within a year after graduating high school and started learning his language. Everyone was proud of me for following the way of the cult to AT. This may have gotten to my head a bit. I gave birth to my son at 20, will be 15 this year, and left the cult in the same year. My relationship with my ex was extremely toxic and emotionally and financially abusive for the majority of my marriage due to the cult's misogynistic views on women, so this drastically changed my views on relationships overall. In the divorce, I lost custody of our son because in his country, and where I still currently live, children culturally belong to the father's family and foreigners hardly have any legal rights. I get to see him on weekends and am allowed to take him back to my country for temporary visits with his father's permission. So on top of losing my child, I felt like I also lost myself because I also left the cult and was truly on my own for the first time in my life. I was a mental mess and dealt with mental illness for years to come and never thought I wanted a relationship ever again. It wasn't until a few months before I met my fiancé, now 35M, also a divorced single dad, we'll call him Dan, in 2022 that I was finally at peace mentally. When I first started seriously dating Dan, I was trying to show him pictures of my siblings via their social media accounts. It wasn't until then that I realized I was blocked by Ashley on everything except Facebook Messenger. It was a shock to say the least because I literally have no idea why. We never had a blowout argument or anything like that. I was so confused. The only reason I can think of is that I unknowingly put pressure on her growing up in the cult. But we had a decent relationship after we both left in our early 20s. Fast forward a year, 2023, and we met up at my cousin's wedding in my home country. My son and I arrived a few days before she did. Her flight arrived in the middle of the night, but I still drove 2 hours to pick her up from the airport since my jet lag was keeping me up anyway. We couldn't meet at all due to pandemic, so this would have been the first time seeing her in 4 years. I wasn't expecting a super loving welcome, but certainly not a "why the F asterisk CK are you here to come pick me up?" and was clearly pissed that I went to pick her up from the airport. Although I was shocked, I took the opportunity to try and talk to her. I asked how she's been before asking about why she blocked me. She was incredibly hostile. She went on to say that just because we are sisters doesn't mean we have to be friends, and it hurts so bad I couldn't hold back the tears and it was difficult to drive, and she ripped into me about crying over it. She still didn't give me any reason as to why she suddenly hates me so much. I had so many questions that I couldn't get any answers to. She barely said 2 sentences to me during the 2 weeks that we were in the same vicinity. And she hasn't said a single thing to me since then, and it's been 2.5 years now. Even though we weren't on speaking terms, I still sent her happy birthday messages and random messages over Facebook Messenger, since that was the only thing Ashley didn't have me blocked on. She never read any of them until months later usually, and I never got a response. Fast forward. In summer 2024, Dan proposed. I have never been so sure of a decision in my life as when I said yes to him and his heart of pure gold. I honestly have never met anyone like him, and he has healed parts of me that I never thought could be mended. He says the same about me, but my traumatized brain just can't accept that I'm as perfect as he says, LOL. We started planning our wedding right after the engagement for September 2025 in the country we live in. Since my family is so goddamn large, we sent out save the dates a year in advance since they all would be traveling here for it. We have around 50 people coming from all over the world to celebrate with us. I sent an invitation to Ashley via Facebook Messenger in hopes that it might spark a conversation, but as I expected, no reply. Due to her not RSVPing, I had removed her from the guest list. No answer is an answer, especially since the RSVP deadline was 2 weeks ago. I gave an exception to a couple guests because they have complicated situations with their families, but other than them, the other 120 guests were expected to RSVP on time. This morning, I get a message from my mother that Ashley talked to her, my father, and my aunt saying that she was coming to the wedding and was making arrangements to stay at their accommodation, which is my home. Ashley has not let me know of any of this. Again, she hasn't said or written a single word in 2.5 years. My parents are thrilled that she was coming and think this would be a great opportunity to fix the relationship. I absolutely do not think so. Our wedding is not the place to fix a broken sisterhood. They kept making excuses saying that's just who she is, she's been stressed with life, she went through a lot the last few years. Give her some grace, etc. I was also stressed with life and went through hell and back. I went through a nasty divorce, lost full custody of my child, went through an extreme identity crisis leaving the cult, struggled with alcoholism, mental health episodes that landed me in the hospital after nearly dying, financially in a hole, had life-altering trauma that landed me in a 3-year-long battle in court, all while trying to be present in my son's life. I'm not trying to keep score. My point is that even though I literally army crawled out of hell, I never intentionally hurt others along the way like Ashley has to me and other family members, particularly our mom. I made it very clear to my parents that Dan and I only want people who actually want to congratulate and celebrate us at our wedding. We were very intentional with every single person we invited to the wedding since this is an important event for the both of us. Me remarrying outside the cult is a huge deal for my parents who still believe in it, but they learned that happiness is more valuable than beliefs, so this is also healing a part of my relationship with my parents as well. I invited Ashley because she's family, and I wanted to have a fresh start to our relationship before she comes. But with her telling everyone but me about her attendance really set me off. I don't want someone who openly and with hostility admitted to disliking me as a human sitting in the front row of our wedding. My parents think it would be wrong for me to ban her from the wedding since they're the forgive and forget type. But mostly just forget altogether, since they're seniors now. LOL. I told them if she doesn't contact me directly, and she still ends up traveling here for it, she will not be let in. They think this is harsh, but in what world does a person not tell the bride and groom that they're attending their wedding? I strongly feel that she needs to talk to me first. Nothing needs to be fully resolved, but a start would be nice rather than just showing up and pretending that everything is okay. Let alone expect to stay at my house for 10 days when I will already be housing for other people. All without talking to me about it at all. Thank you for reading all of this. So, am I the a-hole for not wanting Ashley there?